That was crazy. We apologize.
We should be back to normal. Maybe not. Maybe we are. Looks like we are.
Mm-hmm. It says it's building an audience first. How do they do that? Oh, I guess they tell everybody that we're back live again.
Does it? Is that what it's doing?
Pretty sure.
Oh, that's neat.
Alright, guys.
Well, we're back.
Welcome back to the Outside Theory, episode 4.
Yep.
Alright, guys.
We're good.
This is my boy, EJ Toro.
What's going on?
I'm Jonathan Robinson. Okay, the Eagles won last week. I'm going to give it to him. That boy wins. He showed a little bit. Couple of our sponsors, Pay Me in Gold Clothing. That's his clothing line. Coast Clothing. That's my clothing line. We sponsor this show. We're the ones that are pretty much, Also, shout out Penny and Daytona Beverages, a.k.a. Budweiser.
He threw that one in there as a surprise. That was funny.
They holding it down too, so let's give them a little love, you know what I mean? Y'all hit them up for y'all people, Anyways, we're gonna work on it. Let me know what size. Put in the comment on what size you want, dude. I'm gonna talk about something that just really blew my mind like a couple hours ago. Somebody shared a post, and it was one of those 3D videos on your phone where when you turn it, you can so everything. And
it's on his Facebook
Mars.
if you want to check it out.
It was on Mars.
Was it on Mars?
And I'm just like...
He says, it's on Mars. I say, is it Mars?
I mean, of course it's a whole bunch of pictures, but he thinks it's just like pictures out in Arizona or something like that. But look...
That shit's out of this world, but it
Mars, are you kidding me? Just... When I think about that stuff, dude, it makes me think about, my mom and what she's seen in her life, JFK assassination, Martin Luther King assassination, Malcolm X.
Your mom lived through all that?
Dude, yeah.
Damn.
And
that's
now,
wild.
Then going to the moon, and then the internet, cell phone. He said, did we? I feel you.
Did we?
And then...
Anyway, continue.
And then... Just thinking about Muhammad Ali and Mars. Now we have a video on our cell phone. You could just be at Mars. Do you know how crazy that is?
I mean, it's definitely pretty intense, the technology that we have today, most definitely. But, I mean, with all the modern information that we have available comes a lot of skepticism. Is that the right word? Skepticism? I think that's the right word. Anyway, where it's just what do they say like this, right? They say, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. You ever heard that before?
I heard that before.
That's real shit, and I mean, it's just I don't know, it's okay, for instance, I found a picture on Mars, which I can post this later. This is public knowledge off of nasa.gov. And, I showed you the picture, right? The picture where there's structures that are built up on Mars. And it's it's no hill, it's no this, it's no that, it's structures. And, that's one thing. I was watching a conspiracy show on Netflix. I was just browsing through, clicked on one of them, and I'm going through it, skipping through it, and that talks about how they've known that there was a space station on Mars from a different civilization for over 20 plus years now. And it's that rover could be on it, might not be on it. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know right now.
I just know.
But it's, continue.
I just know that pretty soon, it's just going to be how they say, Mansa Musa, Christopher Columbus, Marco Polo, whoever.
Christopher Columbus was a scumbag. We gotta say that every time, because he was. He was. I'm sorry, he was.
The people, who's gonna go to Mars? I think I'm willing to be one of those people. Someone's gotta go.
Oh, man. You would go to
Out of
Mars.
who's willing to go to Mars?
I'd go, I guess. But like, you would go right now with just the bullshit technology they so think they have.
Nah.
You know? I mean, think about it. Tesla can't even get a rocket off the ground right now. What makes you think anybody else is getting a damn rocket off the ground? Not Tesla, SpaceX. It's Elon Musk. It's the same thing. You know?
I feel you.
But I'm saying, like, was I telling you that about the rockets? How they couldn't get the rockets to go up and they kept exploding? Was I just telling you that?
Yeah. We were talking about that on the last episode too, a little bit.
I mean, they apparently in the 60s, in the late 60s, and again, you could always look this stuff up. You know, they had issues getting rockets even to get off the ground, and it was all the way up until like the late 60s when they finally got one like way up into one of the hemispheres, but apparently it wasn't fully out, and the Russians had already gotten out. They already had someone in orbit, literally outside. So that's what made the Americans rush to it so fast. And then as far as them rushing to it so fast, they kept trying. Apparently it was until like 68 when they finally got one even like 3/4 of the way up. And then that guy ended up having to come down because it had no more fuel. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was on live TV that we were on the moon. Like they shot something up there where apparently, you know, the people went up. That's what everybody saw. And then boom, they were like live on the moon. Now, like, I don't know about y'all, but we got shitty Wi-Fi as it is in some places. We don't even have a commutative Wi-Fi that people could just simply use. But yet, we had signal to send from the moon to Earth in the 60s. I don't know, man.
I mean,
We could have really went, and we probably maybe did, you know, but I don't know. I guess my mind's just too like open. I guess I don't know.
I just want people to think like 20 years from now, like we're gonna be making trips to Mars, like it's another country, like from Europe to America, and
You think?
just for sure, definitely, because it's just gonna be like another planet. But I mean, are there laws on this other planet?
I mean,
Can they tell me what to do?
if America was the one who started it and inhabited it first, I bet you there damn well will be laws.
That's crazy.
Don't you think? I mean, they got laws for every little bit thing we do right now. Of course, we're gonna have laws on another planet. I mean, you'll probably only be able to go there through like, you're gonna have to go through like background check. Like, we can't have a criminal go up there. Imagine if you let like a murderer go up there and this dude was like, "Yo, f everybody," just started scooting everybody up. Like
Like
what?
the movie Pitch Black with Vin Diesel?
Dude, well, he was on some other stuff because his eyes and he could see in the dark. He like lived out there. But like, what if they ran into some alien type esque stuff like that?
I mean, they're going to.
Let me just ponder on it for a second because, okay, if we didn't go to the moon, how are we on Mars? But we definitely got satellites in orbit. Because there are satellite deniers, you know that, right?
That there are no satellites.
Like, they think the satellites are drone, like they're drone planes that are just moving because they're also with the flat earth deniers.
What's a flat earth denier?
Or like a flat earther, not denier, flat earther, excuse me, flat earther. Well, basically a flat earther is somebody who thinks that the earth is flat and not round.
Like still?
What do you mean still?
Like
still or steel?
Still, they still believe that?
Well, like, even back then, they thought about it for a moment in time, but then they finally figured out, that the earth is round. Like, even the ancient Sumerians know that the earth was round.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's way, way, way back when.
But there's people today that believe the earth is flat.
Mm-hmm. Like, BJ Penn is somebody who thinks the world is flat. Like, B.O.B., that rapper B.O.B., like, he's a huge advocate of thinking the world's flat. And they think that satellites aren't real and they're just drones. But, like, there's definitely satellites in orbit, for sure. We know that now. Otherwise, how do you have Google Earth?
That's an interesting
You know
thought.
what I mean? Like, that's not all necessarily computer generated. Like, it is in a sense, but it's definitely picked up of an actual image through a satellite depicted to everybody's devices and whatnot, right?
You know what I always wondered? Like, how even back in the day did they draw what the earth looked like on a map? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
Well, no, Dude, well, see, I don't know. See, that's the question, isn't it? How did they do that stuff back in the day? Because even the ancient Sumerians knew that there were, like, apparently 9 planets and that everything was round, and they knew, like, how many moons some of the planets had. And, like, they didn't even have, like, telescopes and stuff, but, like, somehow they had the apparent knowledge. Wait, what are the people saying about this? Let's see right here. 75,000 gets you into orbit and back, a 5-hour trip. Whoa. We can move that fast?
It's like a hot air balloon type thing. I just saw it on Facebook.
Hell no.
And it's like...
You seen one of those just blew up this year?
No, man. A lot of this stuff is like the new iPhone with me. I'd rather, like, wait, let it be out for a little bit, let them get all the kinks out of it and stuff like that, and then once I get some good reviews, then I'll go, you know? I don't really need to be the first one.
I think you can still buy property on the moon. How do you feel about that?
I feel like that's disrespectful to the moon.
Isn't it? Because, like, who the hell owns that? Oh, we just do? What happens when, like, the Russians go up there, or, like, you know, some, like, the Chinese or, like, Japan, like, get up in orbit, too, and then, like, we're on war on moon. Like, war on the moon type stuff.
Right, that's stupid.
That's wild. We're just going all over the place with this right now.
But that's what it's gonna be like.
But,
right
like, what
now,
else is going on, though, with it?
Right now, we take, like, that's why we call it, like, a spaceship, because we take a regular ship to go from landmass to landmass, and pretty soon we're gonna be taking a spaceship to go from landmass to landmass.
In our lifetime? You think?
It's moving pretty quickly.
I don't think
know,
in
man.
our lifetime.
I think it'll be like, you know.
Who's they? Oh, if they get to the moon first? Like someone else?
They better knock down our flag then. That's funny.
But we weren't the first in orbit, though. We were apparently the first to the moon. The first in orbit was definitely the Russians. The dude's name was like Yuri something of another. I can't pronounce it. Respectfully won't try.
But yeah, so I just want everybody to be prepared for that, and I do think maybe when we're like 70-ish years old and stuff like
There's
that,
going to be something going on.
man, that's like 7 decades.
God damn.
Do you know how much
That's a long time.
That's a long time. There's definitely like, look at what cell phones have done in just 10 years. They've gone from like T9 and Snake to literally anything you want to do.
I know.
To now it's on your watch as a phone.
Computer.
It's crazy. But
yeah, you can check out the Mars photos on NASA.gov too. It's all public record. You can look this up anytime. But you'll find some weird stuff on there every now and then, and there's no explanation for it. Just know that. Be careful. Like, you go look for some of this information, and then some stuff comes up, and then you know, your paradigm gets crushed and all these different things start happening to you. You don't know why. You just got to be careful. Yeah, that's why, like, he can't go Facebook Live for some reason on the computer, but I can. And it's like they're trying to F with us. I think they're trying to shut us down already. But we won't go there. I don't want to antagonize anybody.
So I want to go into the next part of the podcast, and I want to talk about the presidential health situation.
Do you want to go into that right now? Can I throw something in right before we do that? Just to maybe give the viewers a little bit of time to get here? Just a moment, right? Check me out. Check me out. I got something good. Can I throw it at you?
Throw it.
Alright, hold on. I'm going to interrupt. Why? Because we'll just have a little fun right now, you know? Anyway. Cleveland. You see what happened in Cleveland?
No.
The people of Cleveland had a big uproar because their minimum wage went to $15 an hour.
It did?
But it didn't. And see, the thing is, when I looked into it, it's actually one of the unions that are out there. It's like a real big union. The union went from $12 a minimum wage to $15 a minimum wage. So they got a break out there. Shout out the union and what's left of these guys. You know, they do work out there. They be moving stuff. The the crates at the ports. I mean, without those guys, I mean, really, we can't. We're not exporting and importing anything. You know, so whatever the case might be. But there was something I had to add to that too, right? Check me out. I wanted to throw a note to everybody before we get into all this political talk. Alright, just so people know, whoever's paying attention, there's a minimum wage, that's a state minimum wage if you didn't know, and there's a federal minimum wage. Okay, right now, the state of Florida minimum wage is $8.05, where the federal minimum wage is $7.25. That's all I gotta say right there. The other thing is, too, is that there is somebody in Europe right now that they're trying to create a system to drain the Mediterranean and connect Africa with Europe.
I hope that's fake.
How ridiculous is that?
I hope that's fake.
Alright, so let's go into this health thing. What's going on, John?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this is my thing.
Alright.
I don't care if they can run the country or not. That's cool. It's not whether I like Hillary or whether I like Trump. They both have medical problems. It's just like the quarterback of my team needs to be healthy.
Of course.
Because, you know, when Saudi Arabia or Iran or North Korea, these are just random names. I don't know if we're beefing with them or not. But when they, like, want to fight, they can't be in a coma. Or they can't be, like, not able to think clearly and help lead our country. Like, it's the leader of our country. And, like, if you're not in good health, then you need to just, like, yo, hey, I can't really do this right now. You know what I mean? But, I don't know. That's just my opinion. It really has nothing to do with them politically. And
well, it definitely has something to do with
that
everything.
was my problem with Bernie. Like, no offense to Bernie, but can he even make it 8 years? How old is he?
Yeah, his health was probably slightly worse, I would say, than Trump's for sure. I think Trump has the best health, regardless of what they come out with. I mean, you just see...
Johnson.
Oh, Gary Johnson's health is straight.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, his is definitely straight. That dude, I think he does marathons and things of that nature. So, you know, and that's the thing, like, people say, oh, it's not an issue. It's definitely an issue. I mean, even look at Obama. Obama plays, like, basketball. He runs, goes to the gym. Like, the dude's athletic. Like, there's a lot that comes to somebody who's healthy and in shape and athletic. Now, I'm not saying Hillary has to be running and Trump has to be running, but to have two healthy candidates on there all the way around, free of any type of disease, any type of psychological issue that could occur, anything like that, at least at the time, would be best. I mean, the problem is like I was telling you, John, prior to the show, is in 2012, Hillary did fall and she banged her head pretty bad. She did suffer a concussion, and that's 2012. It's 2006. What is she? She's 68 now. She's 68 or 70. So take a few years off of that. And it's not that old, but I mean, we're starting to definitely get there. And if someone's not taking care of themselves, to fall at that age and get a concussion and then later suffer a blood clot.
Hey, LP, I feel you on anybody could die tomorrow, but, you know, going back to the football thing, like, you know, anybody could die tomorrow, but I still want to play my healthiest player, you know?
Most definitely,
like...
and I fully agree with you, John. You know, I mean, you know, and it's like, okay, Trump, they haven't gotten anything on Trump yet. Maybe they find something out where, you know, his knee been blown out 3 times or something. I mean, hey, that's fine. The problem is Trump could have any type of disorder where he's, you know, no disrespect to anybody, but but where he is handicapped in a wheelchair, and as long as he's thinking psychologically straightforward and correct and can answer good questions and can still be out there doing everything, I don't have a problem with it. But when you have an issue coming up where you're falling, hitting your head, and you got blood clots, and you're coming down with ammonia, and you're 68 years old, I mean, I don't know, you know. And there was another thing, which I don't know if you saw, John, or some of the people out there. I only heard this on one of these podcasts I was watching, so it's kind of like allegedly my information, I guess you could say, but check me out. They had another angle of Hillary Clinton walking into that van from 9/11 memorial service the other day, right? Apparently something fell out of her pant pocket or from like her waistband, and apparently to these people who were there, they said it looked like it fell out of her pant pocket. A lot of people were also throwing stipulation that it was just like a pair of glasses that fell either off of her face or like maybe out of a side pocket or something like that. But I was thinking something like, you know, we were just watching her speech actually just before we went live, and it, you know, I was pointing out to John, she's just real boxy in the way she moves. She really doesn't even walk and wave at the same time, which is like, if you can't walk and wave at the same time, like, that means there's something going on somewhere. And with the thing about the thing falling out, well, what if something fell out from underneath her because she has something in her, like, pants and waist that's all tied up that's helping her stand up straight, and that's why she walks so boxy. I mean, she doesn't even bend her knees, and I'm sure Trump's probably the same way. I mean, Trump's got a nice gut on him, so it's like he clearly is eating well, drinking some beer here and there, wine, whatnot, so he's staying healthy in a sense, you know. But it's a problem with Hillary, I feel, and it goes into all the decisions she's been making.
And Brian Parks, I feel you, and like, you know, that's good, because sometimes if your quarterback does get injured, you know, then he might need to stand up and, you know, still lead them through tough situations. But I'd rather not. I don't really want to put myself in that situation. I feel you on that. I feel you on that, but like,
We should still be good. Yeah, we're still moving.
it's just, I mean, I feel you. Hey, if you could play hurt, if that's cool, that's cool. I just feel like, you know, some injuries, you know, I get it, Jordan flu game, but
Alright, well, man, okay, continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
that's pretty much, but, you know.
Alright, I'm gonna just call it out, yo. If we find out right before she goes in, I mean, you know, F it, man. I don't even know why anybody's even backing her up, man. She's got blood on her hands. Here we go again, right? She's got blood on her hands. We know this. She's got hella emails out there. The Russian dude, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks, he's got all the emails. Okay? You know what he did today? The WikiLeaks? They hacked USADA. They hacked USADA, and they got information on the Williams sisters and the steroids that they've been caught taking and stuff that never went public. They got
Williams sisters.
Serena and what's her name? Serena and Venus. That's their name, right? USADA, apparently they hacked the USADA. USADA is the program that's out there that's affiliated with these organizations like the NFL, you know, tennis. They're affiliated with the UFC, and they do the drug testing and stuff like that to make sure these people aren't doing anything. Oh snap! My bad.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that was just something out there. But I mean, is the health thing an issue or is it not, John? What do you think? I think it's an issue because it's a psychological issue that she's already having. It's not the ammonia. It's already it's a concussion at 64 years old.
And like, you know, okay, everybody makes mistakes, and I'm not trying to crucify her, but
She fell off a podium.
is this related to the whole thing where she didn't know that the letter C meant classified? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's
do
the
they
other
go
thing.
hand in hand? Is she like,
she
you know,
become-
is
yeah.
she slow?
She be coming out here talking stuff. Let's just clarify for the people if they don't know. Like, when the FBI notes finally came out, just I believe it was last week, they stated in the notes that she didn't know how to differentiate between classified emails and unclassified emails. Meanwhile, it states it right there in the subject, like what's going on. And she says she had no recollection of it or anything like that, that she ever been taught or shown what it was. And it's like, you know, you definitely turn your head to the side a few times. I mean, the amount of lying that's going on within this Democratic, you know, side over here is just ridiculous. And the fact that anyone's even buying into it just because she's got too many lies on her, at least Trump's starting to get a little controlled, and he's starting to become a little bit straightforward with some things. But he's a showman. So regardless about it, he's going to go on the Dr. Oz like we were talking about earlier. You know, he's going to go on that and he's going to get big. He's going to go on Twitter and he's going to show off a bunch of stuff about his physical, I'm sure, once it drops and this and that. So he's a showman. He's going to show it off.
But let's just be fair and let's talk about Trump's health at the same time. Like, Trump, man, I saw a picture. He was on the cover of Playboy when he was like in his 20s.
He was a good, man.
No, I'm not saying that. He looked exactly the same, bad bodied, just
Well, he
like
was always just like one of those millionaire playboys. Like, what'd you give a f about?
I
They're
feel you
gonna
on
they're gonna
that,
be
but
on you regardless. You got the money regardless for this and that, and
he probably got a little bit fatter. But
there's
he
definitely cocaine involved, though.
he definitely has health issues
Do you
too.
not think? I mean, there's definitely a lot of alcohol involved, so we already know what the alcohol can do to the body. I would say there's cocaine in the system, most definitely. There was at a point.
I'm not gonna say that.
I think so. I think he did cocaine before he smoked marijuana.
He didn't. That's what I'm saying. So I mean, I don't know. But I did see an article today though that said both of them were having some health issues.
Now, someone at 71 would probably have issues. I think he is 70 or 71.
Dang, he's old. He don't look that old.
I'm saying though, but like, I mean, come on, man. It's even, you know, I deal with a lot of customers on my daily basis that are elderly in the area because of what I do. And, you know, these people start hitting that age, man, and if they're not out and about running around trying to stay active, I mean, they're normally, you know, they're overweight, there's back issues, they're always going to the doctor for blood work, they're on these special diets and this and that. And it's like, you know, it's like, well, you just kind of went retired and sat there. You know, and it's like, well, that's kind of like what happens, you know. But you see the one guy, every time you see him, I pull up to his house and he just comes in and he's running and he's sweating. Like, that dude's fully active. His endocrine system's running fine. All his hormones are moving properly. His blood's moving nice. He's flowing, you know. And the dude's like 65 years old. That's what it's about.
Right. It's hard to stay motivated. But when you're older and you know you retire and stuff like that, you have a lot more free time to work out and go out there and get a run in and stuff like that.
Most definitely. And I mean, it does work out that way.
Trump's medical records came out today.
Did they fully, though? That's the thing. I didn't see anything on them fully.
Click on the comments and go look it up. Go down. Oh no, it would come up there. You must have to reload it or something. He says, when do we jump to telling me about my white privilege? Okay.
Alright, here we go then. Perfect timing.
Let's just jump to it.
Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Okay, so I was at work.
Alright, perfect.
Actually, let me change that up because I don't want any kind of HR personnel to get upset or anything like that. He said, yeah, what y'all said, neither for personnel. Anyways, and we were just talking. It's like, yeah, you know, like, I get it. Yeah, we're going to talk about that too.
Whoa, okay, anyway, continue.
And they were like, you know, we hear a lot about this white privilege, but we don't see it ourselves. And you know, once again, I'm just speaking like openly. I'm not really saying this is how I feel, but maybe they don't notice it. You know what I mean? Kind of like
What do you mean, who don't notice it?
Maybe say white people are like, oh, I don't see white privilege. You know what I mean?
I think
And
it goes individually.
I'm not speaking for all white people.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
speaking
No,
for all
you're
black
cool, you're
people
cool.
here. I'm just saying what I like view, you know? And
It's a little humid out here this evening.
right.
Continue.
It's kind of hard, like, because what I do believe is it's more money privileges. It just so happens that a lot more white people, it seems like, has the type of big money where, you know, and a lot of people are saying that guy who got 3 months for the rape stuff, that's kind of like white privilege. But once again, I feel like that's more of like a money privilege. Like, he has people who has money, but at the same time, I'm trying to just like, it's hard for me to speak on it because I'm not. But
you should, if anybody should be seeing it and talking about it, it would be you more than me.
I feel you on
Because that's where the uproar comes from, right? It's
Right.
not the white community complaining about white privilege.
Right. Let me try and get my words together then.
Can I put out? I'm gonna put out the definition of what Google says white privilege is.
Okay,
While,
let's do
while you
that.
think for a second, no worries. Because I want to bring up a point on something that me and you had spoke about the other day, while we were on the phone discussing similar topics. All right, let's see if I can get all this right here. Okay, I was in remedial reading for a little while, so bear with me. Okay. All right, white privilege or white skin privilege
He said, "What for?"
is a term for social privileges that benefit. Isn't that social? Societal? That's a weird word. Privileges that benefit people identified as white in Western countries beyond what is commonly experienced by non-white people under the same social, political, or economic circumstances.
Hey, Brian, name off some white privileges. I'll tell you. I can tell you one thing.
I mean, it's hard for me to even name it off, to be
Black
honest.
privileges. And I'm
Well,
not
hold
going
on.
to say.
You want to say that right now? 'Cause
Look,
I'll tell
look.
you something about it.
I'm not saying. Tell me if this is what is the definition of it. Like,
Okay, can I stop you real quick?
okay,
Google has no definition for black privilege, my friend.
would that be racist or something?
You tell me. I looked it up yesterday. And I'm not laughing as like it's funny they don't have it, but I just don't understand. Like, remember, because, okay, this goes to our combo.
Mm-hmm.
Where John had mentioned to me about, is there a thing such as black privilege? And I thought about it, and I just didn't know, so I Googled it. And, of course, there's plenty of articles where people talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's no Google definition like this, or like how you look up, like, racism or prejudice or anything like that. There's no definition.
Well, I'll tell you. Okay, look, this is what I feel like is white privilege, and I get it. It doesn't happen anymore, but a lot of
Okay, I could tell you black privilege.
hold on a second. And I like people ask me like, oh, how has that affected you or anybody in your life? Like, okay, so my dad was really old, lived in South Carolina when he was young, Sumter, South Carolina. Hold on a second. And so like he said that when he was younger in South Carolina, when he walked down the sidewalk, if there was like some white people walking, it was like the law. He had to like go across the street to the other side and walk and then like come back over, you know, like, and the white people could just walk straight in the line, you know what I mean? And like, that's not blatantly what's happening now, but that's just what I feel like was white privilege. Now it's a little bit more like, you know, some things that we see in the news about like judges just like letting people off and stuff like that, or giving them like a slap on the wrist for like
That's
major
what people
crimes.
definitely are calling white privilege.
That's
and
what I'm
stuff
saying,
like
it's
that.
kinda
the
like
way the system works
evolved.
from like the different communities.
And, you know, I'm not a racist person. I'm not like, oh, well, but like I said, once again, it's a money thing. I'm sure, you know, if you have a certain amount of money, that could be what it is. And people just associate it with being white. And it could be white, but it's just like...
I mean, like getting loans, like say back
Explain brain? What does that mean?
Explain Brian. Someone's talking to someone else in the comments.
Brian. But, yeah, you guys could definitely speak on it. Everybody has a platform right here to talk. We're all open right now.
But I'm saying, like, okay, a white privilege, say, back before the crisis happened, you know, the economic crisis, you know, it's probably safe to say that, like, if a white family wanted to go and get a loan from the bank, they were probably going to get it a little bit easier than a black family, no?
I could see that for sure.
You know, kind of see that being, like, a part of white privilege, I guess you could say. Now, here's something like black privilege, and then I'm actually say something that there's a definition that actually came up, which last night it didn't.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, they watching us right now. We out here.
All right,
You
read
know what I'm
it.
saying?
Read it off.
Well, hold on. Would this, and I'm not trying to be racist, we're out here completely open-minded talking, but I'm going to say something here. Would it or would it not be considered black privilege for, say for instance, me and you both make $25,000 a year and we both work at the same place? Now, you have your issues when you go home, I have my issues. You apply for food stamps and you easily can get them.
Mm-hmm.
I apply for food stamps and I cannot get them at all. Now, would that or would that not be? Because that kind of system definitely tends to a minority-based community of whatever color that might be, and in my experience, they have not tended to the white community the way they have to other different communities out there.
I feel you, and like it seems like what you're saying is like what Lamari's saying. It gets a lot deeper than loans and judges, and it's
But
just
like, what
like
are we
where
gonna?
we live as
Okay, but okay,
people. You
this is
know,
great.
like you were saying, like
Yeah,
housing developments and stuff
yeah,
like that,
and I
and
get that, and I definitely get that, and like the people who own the land that have these projects on there, I understand that. Like the people that own the banks and stuff like that, I definitely understand that as well. But like, okay, we could all sit here and complain about like white man owns this, white man owns that because there's all these different names and trigger warnings and things of white privileged and this and that we could throw out there. But let's face it, I mean, yo, like if I wanted to like say own a bank, I mean, you know how difficult it is for anybody to just start owning a bank?
yeah,
Regardless of how much land you have, like you need to have money backing that up. And before that system even failed, the system that was in place was gold backing up the money that you had for the bank. So it's like, who the hell got that kind of money? I don't have that kind of money. You're never gonna see me open up a bank. You know, and even if I did, that's not my intentions. And that's another thing. You have to get somebody with that kind of money with that type of intention. You know, as well as like, okay, the type of people that own these areas. Okay, well, where are all these hip hop artists and all this that say they got all this money and they want to give back to the communities? Well, why are we not buying the land off of these places that have broken down buildings in them and refurbishing the whole thing? You got money, right? You got all this shit, right? Well, like, what are we doing? It's your community. You're from there. You say you give back to it, but like, why not all come together and do something that big? And I'm sure there's people that do. I'm not calling no one out saying nobody does, because I'm sure that there are plenty of people that do, and maybe there's people that don't. But there's definitely, I feel like, things that still could be done at the end of the day. But okay, at the end of the day, it's still an all-white ran system. And it is. It's ran by 12 families from fucking God knows when. Way back in the Bank of England. This goes all the way back to the 1800s, 1700s. I mean, we could go down it.
I feel you. Hey, can you do me a favor? Look up the definition of just privilege by itself.
Okay, you want to go into the black privilege
Yeah, read
definition?
what black privilege is.
Okay, we'll read that. Okay, this is the definition Google has of black privilege, if anyone hasn't checked it out yet. Okay, black privilege is the concept that there is a set of social... Is that social? What the hell is that word, dude?
Societal.
Societal? Okay, excuse me. Like I said, remedial reading. Just bear with me. Okay. Black privilege is the concept that there is a set of societal advantages that people of the color benefit from, to which other people pronounced we pope... I don't know what that is. Okay, never mind.
White people.
Oh, is that how they...
He said white people.
What the hell is that? Okay. To which other people, white people, don't have access or the benefits of black privilege. Perhaps the most offered example is the hypothesis that black people get to be racist. That's definitely black privilege, because white people can't, like, we can't be racist. And even in the definition of racist, it says we can't be racist because...
What, white people or black people?
White people. Okay, racism. The belief that all members of each race possess characteristics and abilities specific to that race, especially as to distinguish it as inferior or superior to another race or races.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, I believe that any race can be racist because, you know, I heard white people saying they're superior race. I've heard black people say they're superior race. I've heard Chinese people say they're the superior race. You know what I mean? Or Asians, if you will.
But
like,
it definitely depends the area you're in, though.
Exactly, but it's like a lot of people are like, oh, because we've been oppressed, we can't be racist. Like, what? I don't believe that. Like, some people are like, oh, no, I'm not going to come because he's Spanish or something like that. Like, you're being racist to that person. There doesn't have to be a white person involved for it to be racist. But, you know, everybody could be racist. That's just what I believe.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I was thinking for like a long time. But after you get into these definitions and start breaking it down and trying to understand where these mindsets are coming from, I mean, legitimately, you can't be. You know what I'm saying? Because there's the white is the superior according to what I guess you could say multiple different communities kind of just say. Okay, so it's a superior race, and that's where the white privilege comes from. Now, hold on. Someone actually has a good thing on here. I wanted to read it and see what's going on. what color.
I agree, Josh.
Color would not matter. Only your knowledge, skills, and abilities. No, that's great. Garrett says it shouldn't even matter with color, which, you know, someone like him who I actually did grow up with, and myself, like, we grew up with a lot of, you know, friends of the black community and things like that, so I'm sure to him and myself, we really don't even see that kind of issue like what a lot of people talk about, because we have friends of different communities, and it's not an issue for us to just chill and hang out. Where, like, in other places of the United States and even the world, that is an issue.
Hey, you know something crazy too? That someone, I forgot who it was, but it's like, okay, is it Caitlyn Jenner? Is that the dude who became the girl? Or
Yeah, Bruce Jenner. I'll call him Bruce. I'm sorry.
Okay, look,
fuck y'all.
Hold on a
Excuse the
second.
language.
Hold on a second. So
I'm gonna get heat for that, and that's fine.
he identifies as a woman. So does that mean like I can identify as Asian and like it's disrespectful if you call me black? What?
No, they're changing their gender, not their race.
Oh well, what's apples and what's oranges?
Because
How come they're allowed
he's still
to?
a white person.
But he's still a man.
I think so. I mean, I agree with you.
But it's like, how come he's allowed to just be like,
Well, that's
call
like-
me a woman?
That's like
I
that
can't
dude
be
Sean
like-
King.
Call me Spanish.
He had like two ginger parents, and he was saying he was African American. Remember that?
No.
The Sean King dude.
Sean.
Remember the girl that came out and said that she was part of the black community, and when they finally started digging into her records, they were like saying like she's maybe like a quarter of.
And it's just like, so I'm not saying he can't do that, but it's just like, you know.
Alright, so this girl's got a point right here in a sense. She talked about her neighbor having white privilege, and that he's out on parole for multiple different times, and he's been out on parole now twice. And, you know, that's just the thing. He's out twice. It's 3 strikes.
Shout out to Giselle. We went to Lindenwood together.
You know, and it's like that's
she
like
helped me pass English class, I think.
Word. That's word. Thanks for that. You know, my man's out smart
So
out here
play
because of
football.
you. You know, but I mean, I guess you could see that, and yeah, you're right. But maybe that dude's got a really good lawyer. I'm not trying to stick up for him, but there's definitely things that some people definitely have because they have money. See, that's another thing. People think it's all like, oh, you know, it's white privilege, you have a lawyer, this and that. No, like, they offer you a public defender, which is garbage. And if you know anything about the law, you don't want a public defender. You want your own personal lawyer. And it's like, okay, well, if you got 30 grand chilling in the bank, it's probably not much for you to throw 5 to get you out of a position. Where if you have no money because you're in the ghetto selling drugs, for instance, well, that could definitely be a problem. I'm not trying to point anything out, but let's be real. There's a lot of people trying to come up that way. And once you do get caught up, and you get caught up that direction, it's like, well, if you don't have money for a lawyer, you go with a public defender, and you ain't getting out on parole twice, especially if you got caught with guns and violence mixed in the game. I mean, let's be real. I mean, that's what it comes down to. If anybody gets caught up and can throw the money for a lawyer, you could throw $100,000 for a lawyer, they're gonna get you off with murder. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have $100,000, you got a public defender, well, I mean, that's just from what I've learned through reading and people, you know, that have been around who've been in the system and talked to me about it.
Now, I want to hear what people on here have to say about personal experience, because I have some personal experiences, but I'd rather not talk about them. But it's about getting pulled over by the police, and you may or may not have had illegal substances on us, but just in my personal opinion, I feel like, you know, there's kind of a white privilege thing there, you know what I mean? Or even, like, you know, there's a lot of jokes about it that, like, you know, if you get pulled over by a cop, you keep, like, a white friend with you. And I'm not saying that that is racist, but, like...
It's hella racist, John.
No, I get it. But I'm just saying, like, is it true or is it not? Can we be honest about it? Is it, like...
I mean, I've been pulled over in a car with 3 black friends. Totally had the car searched and everything. They found stuff, and they let us go. Am I going to say they're going to let us go because of me? Nah, dude, I'm the white guy with dreadlocks, man. They don't let you go because of this white boy. Okay, they start asking questions, but they let everybody go. It's just that simple. When you're really not breaking the law and they don't have anything on you, they got to let you go. And when it is time to shut your mouth, you kind of need to shut your mouth.
D, you're funny as hell.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. I've been on both ends, too. I've been let go when I've been by myself and stuff like that. I've been in situations where I haven't been shot by the police and stuff like that.
Never had a
But-
gun pulled on me. That's
but-
crazy. What's that say?
I've had a
Your
gun pulled on
connection
me.
is weak. Why'd it go like that all of a sudden?
You said the connection is weak? Oh.
That's what it's saying up here. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, you know.
How long we been going for?
About 40 minutes.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And we've still got more topics to talk about. One thing that I want to say, game of the week, Florida State versus Louisville.
That's all him right here.
Yeah, dude. The quarterback Jackson for Louisville, he's from Miami. No, he's from South Florida. I think he's from Pompano or something. Lauderdale. Yo, he's the truth. But Florida State is good. I'm a Miami fan, but that is going to be a good game, man.
I'm just not paying attention to football like that. I can't these days.
Yeah, we're going to get back into other subjects, but
I don't have other time. I don't have time for the sports right now. I heard that Ryan Lochte dude had a bad time with Dancing with the Stars. You know, I don't know exactly what happened. I just seen a picture where they say it went bad. Probably fell. I don't know, split the girl or something. I don't know what the hell happened, but it went bad. Things aren't looking good for him. You know, he got suspended in America now for like 10 months and all this kind of stuff. That Ryan dude.
Ryan Lochte?
Yeah, the dude who messed up the thing, Brazil. Like, dude, he's like all kinds of messed up, like on parole or something. It's all kinds of crazy shit. That wasn't true, but anyway, it's just he's on some crazy stuff out here, suspended and whatnot.
Yeah, speaking about some true and not true stuff, let's talk about a little bit of local Palm Coast drama.
Whoa,
craziness
what's
that just
going
happened.
on with that?
That's what we're going to talk about. Okay, so there was an article that came out on like Flagler Live, Palm Coast Observer. I don't know what it was, but it said that there was a little girl in the F section, and that she stated and talked to, I think, the school and the police, and was like, yo, there's a guy down the street in like a silver SUV.
They're taking pictures of it.
And she said it was a black dude. Not saying that's like white privilege or anything like that, but like...
Okay, they said it was a black dude?
She
was claiming it was?
That's what she said in her description.
You know
that
what's
he was
weird,
taking
though,
pictures
about
of
that?
little kids and stuff like that at the bus stop. And yo, that pissed me off. Like, I don't want little kids to be at bus stops feeling like they can't sit at a bus stop and somebody's being a creep and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna give the police this while to take care of the situation. I don't want to be causing any problems or anything. But I was like, yo, I will go out there. And I will go talk to Buddy, like, what are you doing? They say you don't have any kids. Like, why are you creeping these people out? We're not cool with that, and we're going to figure out this situation. You know, I don't want to beat them up, but it might get a little bit crazy. But I was surprised by how much of the positive feedback I got back. People like, yeah, dude, we need to go out here. We need to figure out what's going on with this. Like, and not saying people who are like...
You could start a militia. It's legal.
Not saying people who are like gang members or anything like that, but it's cool to see people who care about their community, and we don't like our youth being messed with. Like, that's not cool on any level, you know what I mean? But then the craziest thing is the very next day, I almost feel like they saw all of that on Facebook or whatever, and they're like, yo, hey, the article was fake, like, don't go out there, like, that didn't really happen. And we're like, whoa, what do you mean that didn't really happen? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, they say it's a first-degree misdemeanor. For the girl, like, she's gonna get charged as a juvenile. Like, you
Well-
can't be making false claims like that.
right.
You waste mad money on the taxpayers and stuff like that. Because
You know what
they
I'm
gotta,
saying?
you know, when I was talking earlier, again, I was like, yo, these fucking guys, they didn't gotta put a guy out there. Like, they need a guy there that next morning
Right.
making sure things are okay.
How many
You know-
cop cars you said we have?
Yeah, a lot. We all know out here locally we got a lot. You know, it is a police city, so it's like, that's why I was waiting and wondering why the heck they didn't put somebody out here. Yeah, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But she's making this up now. Which, you know, okay, she's,
Exactly, Mom.
you know, she's making it up too. But, you know, another thing too, I think pedophilia is more of like a white thing than it is of a black male thing.
Statistically,
That's
possibly,
what I'm
just
thinking.
from what I've seen, but I
You
don't know all the
And like
names.
even in movies and stuff, they never portray that person as like a black male. It's always like a white male or like an old white male or like a weird nerdy-esque type dude. You know what I mean? It's kind of real generalized normally, so it's interesting. I wonder what that really comes down to, because some of that stuff really is only prevalent in certain types of people. You know, genetic-wise, really.
Right.
Fucking, that's weird stuff, man. I'm not with all that. And then she was making it up, which is even worse.
You know, something else going back to the white privilege and black privilege. This guy, I'm not gonna like say who he is because I don't want people like going after him or anything, but he sent me this text and it was like a picture and it had like black privileges, which is like we're allowed to have a black entertainment television, but there's no white entertainment television. You know, there's like
network is.
we're allowed to have like the Negro baseball league, but there can't be no white baseball league. You know
The whole rest of the white, but
and stuff like that.
Can I be real
But wait,
about
hold on a second. I want to get to my point real quick. It's kind of like that's where the privilege comes from, because like the Oscars back in the day, they weren't even like the black actors and stuff weren't even invited, weren't even like
OJ was though.
You know what I mean? Like weren't even like picked, and that's when it started to breed and stuff. So I get where they're saying we're out of that stage now, but this is how it affected us because our parents went through this, and this is what they're teaching the kids of today. You know what I mean? So when you say how were we affected by that stuff, like this is what we're being taught, you know, at our homes and stuff like that, and it's just current. Like in current, we really need to think relatively about time. Like 50 years, a generation is current. You know, it may not have been in the past 10, 20 years or since social media, but what people are telling people what to do. And that was another money situation. Money got him out of that. I don't know if it was a black or a white thing, you know, but I believe in the money system.
He had Johnny Cochran.
He actually had Kim Kardashian's dad, Rob Kardashian, also. But it's funny that you said.
I forgot it. Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I was just gonna say that, like, you know, because they weren't allowed to be on these, I guess you can consider them like white award show and stuff. They created their own, and that's like we created the NAACP.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like we created all the African American Cultural Society. Like we created these things because we felt like we weren't getting a fair chance in the other system, so we just created our own system. But I definitely understand.
Now let me say this though. How come though, like the Asian people aren't in outroar about like not having, you know, like Chinatowns everywhere and like districts that are strictly them? Like how come all this isn't happening with like all these other ones, but it definitely is within the black community?
Well,
you know, because like how you were just stating, damn, I just lost my train of thought again.
Well, one thing that I do know is that like a lot of
oh, that's right, because you go with the different networks and stuff, and then you say how like white people don't want the different networks and stuff like that. Well, I'm saying like, I mean, to be honest, like I never really cared, and I kind of grew up watching BET personally, but I'm saying like I mean, even growing up, you know, family used to ask the question, like, what was such the big deal? You know what I mean? And it's like, but hey, it's fine. Like, we can have all those. Like, it's more entertainment to every individual to allow everybody to be creative.
Right.
So there's definitely no negative there. But I'm saying, like, how come, like, the Asians aren't all like, yo, we want our own network and, like, this and that? Does that go back to the oppression?
Networks.
Where?
Like Telemundo.
Where do you see that, though?
That's on TV. They got Spanish networks. They got like.
Okay.
I mean, if you have satellite TV, they have like Chinese and Japanese.
See, I don't have cable, so bear with me.
Right. Well, not basic cable. They don't, but you know they do have those channels and stuff like that. And like everybody, pretty much, they got a London, like BBC and stuff.
Okay, so then the community has every right to have that stuff.
Right.
That's straight up.
Right. But white people are like, oh, we do it, but it's kind of like
we'll do
America's like CBS is that, you know. But Garrett, one thing to what you were saying, you said that I can tell you that even one generation before we were born, racism and privileges were much more prevalent, but it's barely existent anymore. not saying it's extinct, but I would say people are rarely affected. Okay, now I don't know your home, what happens inside your home.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Hold on,
No, that's good. Go for it.
Okay, so I don't know what goes on inside your home and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, you're not in D. Bowen's home. You're not in my home. You're not in, like, I don't know, whoever else is that is of color. You know, like, and I'm not saying, oh, how can you say that? Because I get what you're saying, but it's like, how can you witness racism?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it's like, how can you witness
Exactly.
racism? That's like me saying, I know what it's like being rich because LeBron's rich. Like, I don't live with him. I don't see it on an everyday basis. Like,
and the family definitely has stories that pass through.
You know
so
what I'm
then a lot
saying?
of stuff probably stemmed off of that, which is real shit.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
what if the cops, like, I will tell you one thing. Okay, check this out. I was outside chilling, walking from Kyle's house down to my mom's house. This was like back when I was younger. And basically it's just like the cops pulled me over and they automatically put me in cuffs and they said I fit the description, a black male in a white t-shirt. And it's like, okay. But like, Garrett, you weren't there, so you wouldn't see that. And that's kind of like racist. Like, I get it. Y'all are looking for a black man in a white t-shirt, but you can't just like put me in cuffs for being that. You know what I mean? Like, that's a pretty like broad statement. Like, but if that continuously happened and let's say even they threw bricks through my window and stuff like that, but you just don't see it. You know what I mean? You're at your house on the other side of town. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're rich or anything, but you know how you're like, oh, we're not affected. Like, but you just wouldn't see how other races are affected. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I think something like, let me add to that too, because like I definitely understand what you're saying and what you're coming from, and to add to that note and that vision, you know, like you ever look and see like the buildings that are out in like some of the boroughs in New York, and these big tall buildings, and like clearly there's like how many, you think a couple hundred families in there, maybe 1,000, 2,000 families that like live in those types of buildings,
there's a lot.
right? So say there's 500 families that live in a building like that, like after so long, I would imagine you would probably get to a point where you don't like your neighbors. You don't like the person you see on the elevator on the second floor every morning when you're going to work. Like, there's a lot of stuff you would see and things that would probably start happening. I don't know, I've never been there, but all I'm just saying is living in that type of environment rather than like a house in the suburbs, I could definitely see you would produce two different people that have two different type of mentalities. And then especially if you live in a home that, you know, your mom's there, but then like her father lives in the house, you know what I mean? And he's got a lot of stories from when he was growing up, you know, being oppressed in the 1900s and things of that nature. I mean, you're definitely going to grow up with a different mindset than someone else would in the suburbs, but doesn't it also change a lot though once you have like, say, like a person of the black community that definitely a person of the black community that lives in like the suburbs? Wouldn't their mentality most likely be different?
Exactly.
You know, that's profiling, which, I mean, and it's an issue as well, but, like, I've also watched a few things, and there are some videos out there on YouTube where, like, these cops do have to use profiling to an extent to help them, you know, get to where they gotta go. So it's like, you know, that's kind of wrong place, wrong time, but it would stink in a situation where if, like, say, you know, you were just left a club or a bar, for instance, or maybe somebody was smoking in the car, and then everything transpired from there, all because they profiled you off of something else. So it's like that tactic can go wrong, but that's where I get into where that there's simply incompetent police officers out there. And especially in a city as small as we are, and we have like a gazillion police officers out there, half of them are under the age of 30. And it's like, I'm 25 and know for a fact I don't have that much experience of some of these different people that are out there that are able to travel a lot more than I do. And you're trying to tell me that this guy's got enough experience to wield a gun and tell me what's right and wrong. And it's like, I don't agree with that anyway.
Right.
You know, definitely incompetent police officers out there.
Garrett, I understand what you're saying, and maybe that was like a bad example, but what I'm pretty much trying to say is if there was racism going on 2 streets over from you, you wouldn't know. So it's hard to tell
Of course not.
who's affected by what. You can't really say people are affected or not because you just don't know. You know what I mean? All we really know about is what we see on an everyday basis. I don't know what that means.
What?
What he said.
Yes, I'm not sure. That's alright. I mean, it's definitely a tricky thing. Do you think we'll ever get past this?
I do. I do.
I mean, I think so. I think it's going to be very interesting, you know, how they do think that, like, the average person within the next 20 years, that, like, we're basically going to abolish the white person. Because so many different people are going to continue to mix. And it's like, well, if, for instance, I don't choose to mix or you don't choose to mix, one of your children may. You know what I'm saying? Like, mix with other ethnicities. So just within the next 2 or 3 generations, it's gonna form into more people that are mixed. I think you're gonna see lesser white people. You're really gonna see more of just like that tan olive skinned person that walks around. You know, so maybe with that, racism will kind of fall off slightly.
Right, yeah, because we're all starting to become one.
We're starting to look more, you know, all like each other. I mean, that's like the whole big difference in the beginning was like these people don't look like us. And it's really from an archaic thought process. And if we could only get past the archaic thought process, then from there we could then achieve better and greatness and really peace between people. Instead of arguing and bickering all the time because someone is different color than you, we should, watch out that don't spill. Tripping out.
No, I didn't.
What happened?
This.
Alright. No worries. Well, anyway, man, you want to wrap this up, man? I got to get out of here soon. It's getting late. I got work in the morning, y'all. You know how it is.
What's today? I'm going to Tennessee, y'all.
It's
hey,
Thursday.
Hold on. Let me do some picks real quick before we get out of here. We're about to get... Oh, talking about fantasy football, like, I'm not saying that it's whack. I just don't like it. It's just weird, man. It's like not even football, but I get it. Okay. I said the Jets were going to beat the Bills. The Jets are down 20-24 with third quarter, but a good game is going to be the Bengals versus Steelers, but I say the Bengals are going to get that one. Cowboys versus Redskins, both of them haven't had a win yet. I think Cowboys and Dak Prescott's going to beat the Redskins. Redskins, they didn't really show me much last week, but a lot of teams had that jitters. Que pasa, Papo? Carlos, I see you, man. 49ers versus Panthers. Panthers got a loss, but I think they're the better team. 49ers got a win and they smashed the Rams, but I think they're going to find out that the Panthers are not the Rams. Dolphins versus Patriots. I think that's my upset game. I think the Dolphins are going to upset the Patriots, but of course everyone's going to say it's because they don't have Brady.
Real quick, do you know what happened with him? Why is he suspended? I don't know the full story.
I think it's the Deflategate thing.
Oh, they're finally hitting him with that?
Yeah.
Y'all deserve that, y'all Patriot fans. That's what I'm going to put in there for sure. And I'm going to say that because y'all cheat. And y'all know you've been cheating. Can't front on that. That's public knowledge, too.
Hey, man.
And then you finally get your boy suspended. They said, nah, we're going to pay $30 million. We're going to buy ourselves 2 more seasons to the Super Bowl. Nah, you ran out.
Broncos are on fire. Green Bay versus Vikings. Green Bay's are going to get them. But NFL's looking pretty okay, but college football is where it's at this week. Last week I was 10-5 in my picks. I've been saying to be a professional gambler, because I gamble a lot, you have to win 65% of your bets. And then you can go to Vegas. They had like a Netflix original on this on like professional gamblers. Then rich people will give you money to gamble for them because you see that you have a good percentage of winning and you pick a lot of good bets. So I'm 10-5 right now. If I was like 1,500, hey, I know people would bet with me. It's like a 66%.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, man. Broncos got that defense, man. Those 2 defensive ends is crazy. But
just wrap this up, man.
Anything else?
Nah, man, I'm good. That was the little sports minute we got for you, you know.
For sure.
And
man.
that's it. You know, it's been a fun time. You know, I gotta get out of here, y'all. I'm sorry.
All right, yo.
All right, man. Yo, till next time. We got some guests coming up for you, but we're not gonna let you know just yet. So just stay tuned.
Peace.